Here's the moment I know you've been waiting for. Who is my number one inspiration? Well, my number one inspiration is, like me, a chartered accountant. I first met him towards the end of 1998 in November, and it was this person that completely changed the way I thought about running an accounting firm. In the first 2.5 years of running my own practice, I'd made a complete mess of the whole thing. Yes, I'd grown very fast, but I'd made lots of mistakes. And this person in November 98, when I first met him, completely changed everything. It's Steve Pipe, and he has been my mentor ever since. He's the person who had the biggest impact on my life. In fact, he's had an impact on thousands of UK accountants over the years since then. And if you know Steve, you'll know that he is the most recommended accountant in the entire world on LinkedIn. I forget the current number, but it's something like over 400 recommendations on LinkedIn. He's that highly thought of in the accounting profession. And he's become a great friend. We worked together through AVN for many, many years. He's now part retired, sadly, but he is still doing lots of stuff on the speaking stage and writing some incredible books. Let me share with you a couple of must-read books. This was, he wrote a few years ago, The UK's Best Accountancy Practices, which is a book full of, I think, 41 different firms sharing top tips of what they've done. It's an amazing book for finding out exactly how successful firms are doing things. It's just full of practical idea after practical idea. And so I would say this has got to be a must-read book for any accounting firm and bookkeeping firm because it's highly practical. You can delve into it at any point in time. You don't have to read it from start to finish. But even better still is his follow-up book was this one, The World's Most Inspiring Accountants. And one of Steve's key messages is that as a profession, there's so much more that we can do. We can change people's lives. We can change clients' lives. And after an extensive research project, Steve identified accounting firms around the entire world that are making a big difference to people's lives. And so I strongly recommend you read this if you've not already because it is so inspirational. It makes us realize that as a profession, we can do so much more. It will give you the confidence to go and add more value to clients, to charge the fees you should get because we make a difference. So for all those reasons, Steve is my number one inspiration, but not only that, he's also one of my closest friends in the world. And he's also, if you've ever met Steve, you'll know he is the most genuine, nicest person you could ever possibly wish to meet. So that's my top 5. Now, of course, there is a big problem with any kind of top 5, and that is the people that don't quite make it. And so I thought, okay, what about number 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? So let me, as a bonus, share with you 5 more people that have really inspired my life. And we'll start at number 6 with somebody who's actually, unlike the first 5, all those my top 5 have become close friends, and I've shared a beer with them, or shared breakfast with them, or a coffee, shared the stage with them. Number 6, I haven't actually had a beer with, but I have shared the stage with twice, and you'll know who this is. Huge inspiration. It's Michael Gerber. And in fact, it was Steve Pipe back in November 1998 that introduced me to this amazing book, The E-Myth Revisited. And many, many times working together, we've shared with accountants one of Michael Gerber's videos and his message. This is the systems guy. And my advice is, if you've not read this book, this should be compulsory reading for every single business. In fact, I know many accounting firms I've worked with and Steve Pipe's worked with, we've recommended not only getting this book, but many firms now give it out as a gift to their clients because it is such a powerful message. So although I've never had a beer with Michael, I have shared the stage with him twice. He has been a huge inspiration for me ever since I first came across his book in 1998. My whole thinking is very much systems-based, thanks to Michael. Now the next person, number 7, is the only person in the top 10 I have not yet got to meet. I also haven't known him that long, about 3 years, but he has been a huge inspiration on what's happened in my life over that period. The growth of this current business is largely inspired by Brendon Burchard, who is He is the expert in the world at helping you to find your voice, to become the expert. And so a lot of what I've done in terms of videos, books, and so on, has been inspired by the teaching of Brendon Burchard. So if you want to build up your credibility and be seen as being the expert, then this is the person to go to. As I say, he's the only person I have not yet met in person, but I know that when I do get to meet Brendon in person, I watch all of his videos, I'm a huge fan. When I do get to meet him in person, he will probably end up being in my top 5. But I've only come across him about 3 or 4 years ago. So for that reason, he's just outside. What about number 8? Number 8 is in the UK. And this person I've known for about 4 or 5 years. In fact, I first met him through Peter Thompson, and his name is Steve Trew. He is an amazing guy. Steve Trew is my speaker coach. I've worked with him many times over the last few years, and what I've found is that through his teaching, through his coaching, through his training, I have increased my confidence as a speaker significantly. If you ever watch my early videos on YouTube, they'll certainly make me cringe. They are embarrassing. But what I've found is over the last few years, working with Steve giving me the confidence, the techniques to find my passion, my energy, get that across, communicate better, has helped me to get increasing recognition around the world, get on some of the biggest stages in the accounting profession, speaking regularly to 1,000 people at a time. I didn't think that was possible 5 or 6 years ago, and much of my success is down to this person. So if you want to become better at communicating, at getting your message out there, at inspiring people, becoming better, whether it's on a stage, whether it's in front of video, whether it's simply to communicate better when you're in a sales meeting with a client, this is the person to speak to. Go and find Steve Trew. He's been a huge inspiration to me. Number 9 is a good friend of mine, Martin Bissett. I've known Martin for probably 5, 6, 7 years. I've lost track of time now. Martin is without doubt certainly one of the world's leading experts in helping accounting professionals win more clients, in teaching the processes you go through to prepare for that sales meeting, what to say, how to follow up. And he's one of those people that, and I guess the only reason he's number 9 and not higher up is because unfortunately I never got to meet Martin because he wasn't doing this stuff back in 1996. I think about in the early years of my accounting firm, the mistakes I used to make when winning clients were just incredible. I've been fortunate to share the stage with Martin several times. We've done mentoring sessions together, and the way he explains the ideas for how to win more business, it's so powerful, but also just so many pennies keep dropping. I'm thinking, crikey, I wish he taught me that when I started life out, because I would have been so much more successful right from the very start, winning much better quality clients if I'd used the simple processes that Martin teaches. So if you want to grow an accounting business, a bookkeeping business fast, check Martin out. He's also a widely published author. Like me, he does a lot of video training, he does a lot of mentoring, and he's a brilliant speaker on the stage. So if you ever get the chance to catch Martin on a presentation, go and watch him. He is brilliant. And last, but certainly not by no means least, is back across the US now, somebody who I haven't known that long, but his content is amazing. It's Mike Michal. He's written a number of books, like Surge, for example, and my favourite one is this one, Profit First. I read this a few years ago. Incredible book, another book that every accountant or bookkeeper should read. When I read it, I realised that the process that Mike talks about, I'd actually been through the same process with my current business already. So I was already doing this, but I know it makes so much sense from all of my experience in business. So you do need to read this book. It's just amazing. One of the top books for accounting professionals. It will help you figure out how to add more value to your clients. Like many of the other people in this top 10, Mike's become a good friend. I've met him many times over the last couple of years. At pretty much every conference in the US I go to, he's there too. So we always have a catch up there. And at the last conference I saw him at, I finally got to see him on the stage, because unfortunately normally at the conferences I'm speaking at the same time Mike's speaking, but I finally got to see him present live, and I have to say he is one of the best speakers I have come across in the accounting profession. So if you don't yet know of Mike, you'll want to check him out. He is inspiring. So that's my top 10. Of course, there's probably many other people I could mention. The problem with the top 10 is you can only put 10 people into it, but there are many, many more that I would love to mention. People like the people at 2020, Ian Fletcher, Gordon Gilchrist, and in particular Chris Fredrickson, who was the person that actually inspired me to start my accounting firm way back in 1996, and many, many more people that I could mention. But I hope this short series of videos has given you some thoughts of people that you should check out. These are people that have inspired me, and I know they can inspire you. Thank you for watching.